Hello, welcome back to the channel. Yes, I am still on my honeymoon, but I'm watching Thursday Night Football, and I think it just needs to be said. This touchback rule, where as you all saw with Justin Jefferson, he fumbles the ball through the end zone and they lose possession. I said it on Twitter. It is the dumbest rule in the NFL, and there are a bunch of stupid rules in there. And quite honestly, I didn't have any skin in the game. I'm not rooting for the Eagles. I'm not rooting for the Vikings. I don't have Justin Jefferson on my fantasy team, nor the Eagles defense or anything like that. This is just a common sense thing, and I'm sure every team at some point has been burned by this. I know the Steelers have been burned by it a couple of years ago. I believe it was up in Denver, and I believe it was a playoff game. Don't quote me 100% off the top of my head with that. But I'm sure we've been burned by that. We've been burned by that rule before. But honestly, it's just the stupidest rule that basically a player is punished for trying to score. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, it also makes sense. It's also I get that the goal line and the end zone is a different zone, and there should be different thing for certain rules and certain situations that it should be different to the normal field of play, as it were. But I just can't get over the fact that when in normal play, if Justin Jefferson fumbles out on the 35-yard line and he fumbles the ball forward and he goes to the 30, say, they get the ball, but they keep it on the 35-yard line. So why is it any different when it goes out of bounds and goes through the end zone? If you want to give the Vikings the ball again, make it an arbitrary thing that no matter where he fumbles from, it always goes on the 2-yard line. For instance, if you want to do that, it might get the situation where a player's at the 10 and just fumbles it all the way through it. Although admittedly you should be able to tell under a replay situation, or if you just go to the normal thing of just wherever he lost the ball from, in this case, I think it was about he was diving over, so it would have been about the 2-yard line. Obviously, if you want to contrast that to rugby, the equivalent would be a goal line dropout, but I can't imagine what the equivalent would be. The equivalent would have to be literally a quarterback. If anyone ever played the NFL Street or NFL Tour series, where the quarterback just from the back of the end zone just throws it to start it off, that would be the equivalent of like a goal line dropout that they have in rugby. So I can't see that happening. But just give the ball back to the Vikings, where even if you want to have it, similar to a touchback, and say if the ball gets fumbled out of the end zone, you start automatically at a 1st and 10 on the 20. I'm pretty sure most teams would take that rather than throwing the ball away. So whatever the situation is, there has to be an easy situation. If you want to treat the end zone as something different, that is fine. And again, fine, but you cannot give the possession to the other team. It just doesn't make sense. As someone points out on Twitter, that was a 10-point swing. You take 7 points and we assume the extra point is good away from the Vikings. Then that gives the possession, give the possession back to the Eagles. They score a field goal. That's a 10-point swing. The game's still going on. We just started off halftime, start the second half rather. But that could very well be a game changer. Even if the Eagles go on to win by 14, for instance, that still would have changed a couple of things. The game plan for the rest of the thing. If the Vikings are going into the half with a lead rather than from behind, so the NFL definitely needs to do something about this. We're seeing the Eagles score with the push play. That was a big point of emphasis this offseason. Next offseason, let's get this rule changed as well.